What's up, everyone? My name is Tyler. I'm the singer of the band Afterlife, and I'm hanging out with Rob on Front Row Live.
Tyler, what's up, dude? I'm so freaking excited to finally get to talk to you. I've been a fan of the band for some time, and your debut album was incredible, but now your sophomore album, Part of Me, is just, it blows my mind on like the evolution that the band's had within just 2 records. For you personally, like, how do you see the band has evolved since the debut in 2019 to now the new record?
Well, for one, I'm excited to be here. So I think the evolution from the band is like when we did our first debut, it was like the first record as Afterlife. So like we kind of really wanted to make a statement, have it be very aggressive, very in your face, and kind of like leave the impression that like, all right, this band, there's something here. Because we always kind of had a plan to go where we went with the second record. And with the second album, we wanted to kind of go like into a little like deeper into like what the band is, like each individual member and like the influences that we have and like, where we grew from Breaking Point to now Part of Me. And I think given everything going on in the world at the time, because the record was kind of split up into 3 sections, like March and the summer and the end of 2020, it really encapsulated like everything we were dealing with at that time, especially me as well. So
I feel like you really dove into more, you gave us more vulnerability with this record. And like for you as a songwriter, as an artist, obviously kind of reliving or opening up those wounds that you kind of write about. What is that process for you? Was that something that you felt like just you had to get it out, so it just came out of you? Or was it something that like you knew you had to get it out, but it was being difficult to come out?
For me specifically, like during that time, I was going through like a really rough point in my life, personal life anyway. And I was finding that I had so much to talk about. And like because I was experiencing as it was going. And I felt that like, if I was ever going to write those songs like miles away, specifically, if I was ever going to write that song, it was like right then and there. Like I had to be done there. I couldn't write it in a year because it wouldn't feel like genuine to me. So I was like in that moment, I had to write that song. And, with Part of Me, I was at a point in like my adult life where like I reached that point of closure for that song. So it just felt right. Like a lot of the songs on the record felt right based on where I was at or the rest of the guys were at in our own lives. So it just felt like the perfect timed record. Like it was like a time capsule where we were all at the time.
The importance of having Zach come back on this record. He's been a day one with you guys for since the beginning of the band pretty much. So having him during this opportunity or this new experience of like, okay, we're opening up a little bit more, like we're talking about ourselves more than ever. How did that help you guys be more comfortable in the studio to do that?
Well, like you said, he's been there from day one. So it's like he's seen the band evolve. He's seen us evolve as like individuals. And like he really knows where we want to go better than anybody else. So having him on for this album fully, as opposed to Breaking Point, it was split between him and Zach Cervini, which is absolutely, he's killing it right now. Like every record he does is just ridiculous. Zach too. So it's like, having him there for this record, this important record, because a lot of bands kind of dropped the ball on their second album. And like we, from the get-go, we're like, we cannot we can't have that happen. So we took a lot of time and like wanted to make sure that like the songs were the best way. And we took a lot of his either constructive criticism or just like a lot of his brain went into this album as well. It was, as like a second member. So it was great having him. I hope to have him for every record. And even though like he's a good friend of ours, so like we'll hang out aside from music, and it's always cool to kind of have that person there, knowing they'll be there like as a friend, but also as like a producer and a writer and everything else that goes into doing an album.
Listening to the record sonically, like how would you say that that Zach helped you guys somewhat step out of your comfort zone and create something new, something fresh with Part of Me?
He has an ear for like the most odd sounding production. Like, so within the record, there's so much underneath the guitars and the drums and the vocals and the bass. There's this insane production element that I haven't seen anyone do outside of him. So like he has this ear and like this taste for this production that no one else has. So it's really cool that we can tap into that, and he'll give us that and like really solidify that into our, so it's becoming like a part of our music. And when people listen or critique the songs, like, yeah, I love this production, I haven't heard it from anywhere else, it's only in this band or the bands that Zach does. So it's cool to have that element that is from him. And he's very good at kind of like breaking down, I mean, I feel like any band will have writer's block in the studio, so he's very good at breaking down what you want to do in like very simplistic ways, and then building on top of that, getting you to where you were at but you couldn't get there yourself. He's a great guy. He's one of the best in my opinion.
How did you feel challenged vocally, Tyler?
Okay, so I love talking about this because it's something that I took a lot of like pride into. So like going from Breaking Point, it was a predominantly screaming and rapping record. There were the songs that had singing. So on this album, I wanted to push myself not only to be like a better screamer, have more kind of like flow and like vibe to like my rapping, but I also wanted to elevate like the singing on the record. And I also wanted to become a better writer. You know, there were some songs, I wouldn't change anything about Breaking Point, but there were some things I wish I could have said better. So going into this record, I really wanted to make sure like I dove really deep into like the storytelling aspect of like my rapping and singing. One of my favorite rappers is NF. And I got really into him while I was writing this record. So I took a lot of influence on how, you know, you never really quite see the big picture until the end of the song. So it keeps you engaged, it keeps you listening, keeps you like kind of making your own conclusion until you get the full thing. And I really love that about his music. So I wanted to have that in our music without like not really ripping off, but like having it in our own way. And I think I really did that. I think Part of Me, not only the record, but the song is probably is the best song I've ever written, from like a sonic point, but to like a lyrical point as well. Like it's gonna be hard to top that one.
Because you challenge yourself so much with singing and screaming and the rapping, I feel like it also gets exhausting. So when you're writing a whole album, 10 tracks like this, we don't have any tours going on. So you don't get to really like test these live pretty much. So as you're in the studio recording these songs, like how do you not kind of pigeon yourself in a way that like each and every song is exhausting to sing, and then when you take it live, it's just a challenge?
It's 10 o'clock.
So how do you control that? I don't know if I'm asking the question correctly, but
no, I get what you're saying. It's like, how do you know what you're doing is right? Like,
exactly.
how do you know it's going to translate? And I think for our advantages, we had all of 2020 to really do the record based on so like we would write X amount of songs, we'd have a time off and be able to like sit and like reflect on like, what do we like this? Do we don't like this? How can we change it? You know, by the end result, we all loved the record. So it was like, you know, we kind of wrote it in a way where like the heavier songs were absolutely written live, like Misfit Anthem, Pure, Envy, like all those songs we knew were like the live songs. So we wrote them in that way so they would translate live. I mean, still there could be the issue of not people liking it, but luckily the 3 shows or 4 shows we played this year, they've been hits, like absolute crowd bangers, like the kids lose their mind over it. So it's like, it's definitely difficult, like for songs like Miles Away and like Part of Me, like the softer, more like ballad type songs, you never know how those are going to go over. We don't play Miles Away live, but Part of Me has been nothing but amazing live.
I feel like you have to play Part of Me. Like there's no question about it.
It's like, yeah, it's not in the set list. It's just the new record, but no, that's awesome. Like it's cool. Like in our set, so Broken Home from Breaking Point is like chapter 1. And then Part of Me is like chapter 2. So it ends on those 2 songs. It's like one big story. And how we play it live is like they all run together. So like it's Broken Home into Part of Me. So like during the set, it's a one big story and then it just ends. Like it's honestly really cool. And like we constructed this like big percussive like intros with like synths and like keys. It's like this big thing. And like it's super cool to bring that from the studio live to like a live setting.
Now, the fact that Part of Me was one of your most vulnerable and one of your favorite songs so far, would you say that song was easy to write, or would you say that was one of the most challenging songs to write on this record?
I think in terms of like it feeling the most natural, it was definitely part of me. Um, because it's like a story that I know so well and like I can easily talk about it and get it out there. But like I wanted to write it to where it felt like a timeless song. Like some of my favorite bands, like obviously Linkin Park and Papa Roach, like they had these songs that no matter how long ago they were written, they feel timeless, they feel fresh, they feel, new. And I wanted it to be similar in ways that like I could tell the story, but how could I make it feel like a journey? Like how can I make it feel exciting without it, I didn't want to fabricate stories or anything like that. So it's like I wanted to bring a new element to the music outside of me just talking about what happened in my life. And that's where like Zach came in with like the production aspect with like we have these like rising synths and keys and choir part. It's I don't know. He really brought that song to the next level.
Once you finalize this record, you finally got to listen to the final version. What do you feel like the band learned about themselves?
I think, I mean, this process of writing this record was like a once in a lifetime thing. And I hope it never happens again because it was absolutely trapped. Like the world was just completely messed up. So like during this record, I think we really learned to like trust our gut because like, as a band, there's a lot of ears and hands and involved in certain things. And like, we were really I don't know the word. We were really stuck on being a certain style or not like we wanted something specific for this record and we really didn't want to budge on it. So like, I think we all learned that to trust our gut and to know what we were doing was right. And now that the record's been out for a couple months now, I think we were on the right track. Like people are loving the record, the heavy songs, the soft songs, we're being confirmed on like the biggest festivals we've ever been on. So it's like, I'm glad we, stuck to our guns and really trusted, what we wanted to do as a band.
We're closing out the year in a couple of weeks. So what are the plans for Afterlife in 2022?
So it's crazy that it's 2022. It's like, it's nuts. So we're kicking off February 16th to the 21st. We are going on a cruise to Belize. So it's a 5-day rock cruise with Rob Zombie, Mudvayne, Mastodon, Bad Omens, Crown the Empire, Blackstone. It's like insane. 2 onboard performances. Then you go to the private island and there's like a festival on the private island. So we start the year with that. We just announced that we will be at Welcome to Rockville, May 2022. We're playing Saturday opening for Guns N' Roses. And that's like something I would never it's like it's one of those things that's just crazy. And then like we have a couple other festivals this year that are unannounced, and currently right now we have announced that we're supposed to be going to Europe in May, but who knows, like with how over there it's scary. But yeah, lots of touring. And that's my thing. It's like it was such a bummer to put out the record in a time where obviously there was no touring. We're not the only band that did it. There was hundreds of bands. So it's like, I'm so ready to get these songs out there and like put them in front of crowds. Cause like this year we had our album release show, which was awesome. Then we were supposed to do Rebel Rock in Orlando. It got canceled. And so we did a pop-up show, awesome show. And then we headlined Welcome to Rockville this year, like a couple weeks ago on Wednesday. And now we're going back next year. So it's from what we can see, the people like the songs. So it's a good thing.
And you get to bring it to new audiences too. I feel like with these upcoming festivals, this trip that you're having, like I feel like it's really gonna open up new ears for Afterlife.
That's like a cool thing too. It's like the people we're meeting at these festivals. This is our first time doing these types of festivals, so it's like it's all new audience, and like we're meeting people that have been fans of the band for so long that haven't been able to make it to the shows, but they'll be at every single day of these festivals. So it's like it's a real treat to kind of meet these people that have been fans in the background that we haven't necessarily interacted with or seen. So it's awesome.
No, man. Well, thank you for taking the time to do this. Congratulations with this record. And I'm looking forward to doing it again, like for sure. Yeah. I'm definitely a fan that's sticking around till the end with you guys. So
I'm just happy we got to get on the phone today. Like,
Dude, I know. Has it been what, 2 years, a year?
I think, yeah, it's been too long. Let's just say that. So I'm happy we finally got to talk because, like, obviously I'm a big fan of like a lot of like the interviews you do, and I love that you share them like full video, so you don't have to like go and like look for it. Like it's boom
Yeah,
right there. I love that stuff. So
dude, appreciate that.